Good evening at 6 o'clock in the Common Council, City of Marshfield, Tuesday, August 27th, 207 West 6th Street, 6 p.m. Call to order, roll call. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C, identify possible conflicts of interest. Seeing none, moving on to item D, public comment period correspondence. At this time, I'll recognize those members of the public who have indicated a desire to address the council. Upon recognition by me, persons may address the council first stating their name and address. The council may act on emergency matters introduced by members of the public. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, moving on to item E, approval of minutes, August 12th, 2024 special meeting and August 13th, 2024 regular meeting. We have a motion by Alderman Stalber, second by Alderman Giles. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. That motion carries. Thank you. Item F, staff updates.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one tonight, and it's related to what Communications Director Tom Laux put on your tables here just before the meeting. The Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee heard a proposed social media policy on August 6th. They were generally favorable, but I've had a few questions, had a few thoughts about maybe some minor revisions. Tom came back to them on August 20th, last Tuesday, and made some changes, had that included in his memo. Committee found them all to be okay and signed off for it to come to the council for final approval tonight. But not included in your packet was those changes. So there's nothing new that the committee members haven't seen, but what you see in red as you look at that is just memorializing and incorporating into the policy the items that the committee gave their blessing to on August 20th. So I just want you to know that as you head toward the consent agenda. Other than that, I have no updates tonight.
Thank you, Steve. Item G, mayor's comments. I have none for this evening. Moving on to item H, council comments. Seeing none, city administrator's update.
Thank you, Mayor. I was charged with looking back at some of the old requests we've had, and it is true that I was pretty much up to date with responding to your requests under items for future agendas through Memorial Day, but since Memorial Day, they've been piling up a little bit. Been some we haven't gotten to, so I just want to touch on just a few things that have happened with the requests since that time. We did have a request for looking at additional camera angles for Zoom when people are participating remotely. Can they see who's at the at different parts of the building, the podium, whatever? And Ing took care of that. I think it's working pretty well. Maybe had a blip or two where I had to make an adjustment, but thank you for doing that, Ing. Also had a request for a referendum on relocation of the police department, and we did talk about a referendum on that project as part of our special meeting. Ultimately, we've decided to look at the relocation without a referendum in the mix, but that was addressed. Had a request for the guidelines for public comment, and I sent to the city attorney a couple of days ago a revised version of what I brought to you earlier this summer, scaled down a bit, just to be noticed as part of how we handle the public comment from up here, what we tell people in terms of the expectations, more than a formal policy. I hope that I'll be able to get that to you on September 12th. Did have a request from Councilmember O'Reilly for reviewing the new food truck ordinance. Talked to him the other day. We're not getting many complaints at all. In fact, we're not getting any complaints that I'm aware of so far during the summer, but he would like us to maybe take another look at some of the language issues in that ordinance, which we'll do sometime in the fall. Other ones, we're looking at several of them and expect to see a couple of presentations as part of that during the month of September. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Steve. Item J, reports from commissions, boards, and committees. Seeing now, moving on to item K, consent agenda. Alderman O'Reilly.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to pull item 10B if we could, please, for discussion.
And we need a motion to accept the consent agenda. Motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman Tompkins. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please vote with the exception of Alderman O'Reilly's pulling item 10B. That motion passes. Item 10B, approve purchases of various fleet equipment, street division.
Thank you. This did make its way through Board of Public Works. What we're talking about is a new road painting truck, approximate price $250,000. I did vote to approve it at Board of Public Works, and afterwards had a lot of kind of questions and concerns. The numbers concerned me for the amount of roads that we have to paint and stuff. So I did get a hold of a couple companies today and got some numbers from them as far as painting costs to sub this work out. To me, from what they told me, it was a no-brainer not to do it ourselves. But I had a discussion with Tim Rasmussen after that, and we had a really good discussion about it, and kind of came to the conclusion that it would probably be best to explore this a little bit more. And I said, can we set it back 1 month for you to explore some of these other costs more? And he was comfortable with that. He said, as long as we have it by next spring, if we're going to go that route, that was the key thing. So I guess that's what I would be asking is give Tim, myself, and whoever else would be interested in having that discussion 1 month on this to bring it back to review it.
And Tom Turchi's here to give some insight.
And I would like you to be comfortable with this purchase, so I would also recommend that you send this back to the Board of Public Works for additional discussion.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Alderman Stauber, second by Alderman Weigel. Any other discussion?
Can we just clarify
And
that?
I'm going to ask Alderman Stauber, what is your motion?
Motion be to send item 10B back to Board of Public Works for further consideration.
And Alderman Weigel, you're comfortable with that? Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. So action on items removed from the consent agenda, which we just did, which is the purchase of various fleet equipment. Looking back to see if we can make this work better with something different. How's that? Okay, so how's that? Is that satisfactory? Thank you. Item M, second reading of ordinance number 1517, amending section 11-06 of Marshfield Municipal Code, weed control, presented by Tom Turchi, Director of Public Works.
All right, we discussed this 2 weeks ago, and basically this was to bring the city of Marshfield in more of a compliance with what Wood County does and with the DNR standards for weeds, which will also allow us to have milkweed and other plants that are non-hazardous to people in our parks and some of our greenways. So I recommend approval of this ordinance for weed control.
We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Giles. Alderman Wagner.
Thank you. I received a phone call from some of the residents down on 27th Court. And as you know, the Armory went and built a 10-foot fence, barbed wire fence all the way around their property. But in doing so, when they measured it, they found out that we didn't have the boundaries in the right place. And so they had another 30, 40 feet in width and then in length. And then the width of the drill field back there. And the problem with that is they, for some reason or another, they've quit mowing that addition. They're mowing the rest of the property, but not that. And the problem we've got is that they're complaining that there are noxious weeds and all kinds of nasty little things in there that are getting out. You can't confine them very well with chain link fence. So is there any way we can call them and find out what their intentions are and how they're going to maintain the weeds in that area, please?
I will certainly do my best to see what we can come up with.
They are the National Guard, so lots of ruck.
Any other issues or concerns? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Item N, first reading of ordinance number 1518, rezoning the west portion of parcel 33-06798 from MR12 municipal multifamily residential to CMU community mixed use, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. The next four items all came from the Plan Commission meeting on August 20th. They're all first readings, and I'll be going through them here in the next few minutes. First one is from, as you mentioned, Jeff Hill. He within the last year, had gotten the property in question, 5.8 acre site, rezoned from from CMU to MR12. His intent at that point was to develop 2 and 3 family homes across the site. His plans have changed, and now he's looking to sell the western 3.6 acres of that parcel to another party, potentially Marwood. And he's looking to rezone that portion back to CMU, commercial, mixed use, commercial mixed use, which is what it was prior to the original rezoning that took place within the last year. That would match the property in question. He submitted a certified survey map that would split the property into 2 lots. The western one would be an outlot. Just to note, that would not allow building on it at this time because there's no direct access to a street. But there's no intent at this point to use it for anything of that nature. The intent would be to develop the east part along Adams. In fact, there also was part of the Plan Commission meeting the other night, a request to look at vacating a portion of the Bradford Court right-of-way in order to make the desired street configuration possible over there. So anyway, the area to be proposed, as I said, is an outlot, and that's the way it's expected to stay for the time being. If you look at what CMU would allow in terms of uses, some of the uses would be large and small scale office, retail, service, and lodging uses that are compatible with the community character. And again, that's for the western 3.6 acres of this parcel that would be the outlot if this were approved. So with that in mind, normally we would call this the first reading, and the second reading would be on September 10th. That is the way we have it in the memo. However, Jeff Hill is asking if you would consider waiving the second reading and approving it tonight. One of the problems with what's happened is we didn't get a quorum for the July Plan Commission meeting, so that kind of sent back his timeline a month. And he's hopeful that, in fact, if we see everything to be in order, that we will, in fact, waive the second reading and approve the rezoning as requested.
Council, what's your pleasure? Tom, go ahead if you.
This also requires a resolution to actually accept right away for the little T-type turnaround at Bradford Court, which the resolution is scheduled to be on the September 10th meeting. So,
Thanks, Tom.
And I can appreciate the need for a second reading, but given the delay caused during the Plan Commission, I would be in favor of making a motion to approve on the first reading.
And is there a second to that motion? No, the board's not working. Okay.
I'm
we see-
ensuring that we're making a motion to suspend the rules, so it was just delayed. Correct. We need to we need to suspend the rules if we're going to waive that.
It's a request. To suspend the rules.
So we have a motion by Alderman Stauber, second by Alderman Varsho. Alderman Weigel?
Even if we do suspend the rules tonight, don't we still have to wait till September 10th in order for the ordinance to pass?
Well, maybe Tom can clarify. I mean, my thought is the ordinance would pass. However, the resolution does need to be approved to make possible what the individual is trying to do, but I'll let you explain that, Tom.
so the resolution basically, anytime there's a right-of-way that's dedicated, the Common Council has to approve to take that. So there's a simple resolution to accept that. That resolution is scheduled for the 10th because it was going to coincide with the approval of this ordinance.
But would the ordinance's second reading and approval need to be delayed as a result of that?
You could do it tonight, but we can't sign it until you've
Okay.
approved the right-of-way resolution.
Right, so then even if we do suspend the rules tonight, we're still waiting for the 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Alderman Varsho?
But, Tom, but if we were to suspend the rules and approve this, the resolution is just, it just goes, right? So Mr. Hill would be able to proceed with what his plans are. He would just have to wait till the 10th till we say yes to the
To the resolution, yes. So basically, we just can't sign it until
Right.
Our approval, so that it can be recorded until the resolution's been approved.
Right. So he could move on with his plans if we approved it tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and he could move on, or he waits till the 10th and he might not know. We might say, no, we're not going to approve it on the 10th, and then he waits for 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, it does create a little bit of a problem. If you, let's say you guys did not approve that right-of-way dedication, it does mess up that CSM.
All right.
Just to note, though, that the planning commission did recommend approval
Yeah.
of the vacation that is being referred to without really any comment or concern.
Yeah.
Alderman Tompkins?
So I have, I'm not in favor of suspending rules unless there's a time-sensitive issue. So I need to know, is there a time-sensitive issue, what it is? I mean, I realize that the timing has been delayed, but what is needed to be done in these next 2 weeks that makes us suspend the rules?
I'm not sure if you'd be willing to let the applicant speak to that. I know that, again, the process has been delayed. I know he'd like to get going and start moving forward in his plans. Exactly what that looks like in the next 14 days, I don't know. I can't answer that. I just know that he did request it based upon the delay that's been imposed upon him by the lack of a quorum of the July Plan Commission meeting. I recognize.
Would we be, Jeff, would you like to come to the podium? And thank you for being here so you can answer that question.
Basically, I'm trying to get this rezone completed. It was the only stipulation to the sale of that portion of the land. Once this rezone is approved, I can continue at least with the sale of that regardless of the right-of-way approval. So essentially, I'm going to get a bunch of money for it if I can sell it. I'm paying interest on a loan now that was delayed because of the lack of quorum. So it's delayed at 30 days already. Interest isn't cheap right now, so I can pay off some notes basically.
And stay right there just in case Alderman Stover has a question.
A little
Thank
bit
you.
unorthodox thinking, maybe we only do it in the private sector, but I would be inclined to even pre-approve the resolution if it's just a formality and considering the delay we've already caused.
Go
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, legally, we can't do that. For one, it's not on the agenda. That'd be the simplest way.
That particular part of it wouldn't affect what I'm trying to do with this one portion.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote. And before you vote, Jessica, would you please read what we're voting on? The
This
motion?
is just to suspend the rules if
Thank
you would
you.
like to vote on the ordinance.
Thank you. Please vote. And that motion carries. Thank you. Item O, first reading of ordinance number
You need to
1519.
go back now and
We
vote.
have to vote,
I'm sorry.
on the ordinance, yep.
Okay, now we go
Voting
back to vote on the
Sheffield,
ordinance.
yep.
Okay. Motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman Giles. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote on the ordinance. That passes. Thank you. Okay, now item O, first reading of ordinance number 1519, annexing property at 111250 West McMillan Street to the city of Marshfield and establishing SR2 single-family residential as the zoning clarification presented by Steve Bark, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, you saw this recently when you referred it to the Plan Commission. This is a request for the annexation of approximately 2 acres of land at the northwest corner of Oak Avenue and West McMillan Street. The applicant is looking to be brought into the city at the SR2 single-family residential classification. It appears that would be compatible with surrounding uses and with the city's land use map and land use plans. At this point, there's no indication of any development expected on the property. It would just be to have the current use continued. The Plan Commission had no concerns about this. After reviewing it, they found it all to be in order. They recommended approval of both the annexation request to bring this property in from the town of McMillan to the city of Marshfield, and also with the recommendation that it would be coming in at SR2, single-family residential. No action is required of you tonight. I would take any questions, but otherwise, this is the first reading of the ordinance to make that annexation and to set the classification for zoning purposes.
Any comments, questions for Administrator Bard? Seeing to move on to item P, first reading of ordinance number 1520, amending various portions of chapter 24 of the Marshfield Municipal Code, sign code, to allow projector signs as alternative signs and include standard regulations for this type of sign, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as Councilmember O'Reilly will remember, we had a lengthy discussion, actually more than once, on this topic. As part of an alternative sign permit, somebody was looking to use projector signs. They wanted to actually project, for example, maybe on the side of a wall, logos and maybe some things about Merry Christmas or whatever it might be, to identify things related to their business and just to make those types of messages known. That was not allowed at that time because the sign code does not speak to projector signs as we sit here tonight. It was thought by the Plan Commission that it would be a worthwhile thing to look at allowing these with certain limitations, and that they not be, I think, blatant advertising, for lack of a better term. So in order to make this happen, Bryce Hembrook came up with an addition to chapter 24 of the zoning code. He had to determine or bring forth a description, if you will, a definition of what a projector sign is. I'll just read it out loud for folks maybe tuned in at home as well. A projector sign would be described as a type of digital sign designed to project images, text, or any other visual content onto a surface. This shall only include static images, and the projection must remain stationary. The sign itself does not have a physical presence, but its content is visible on the surface it's projected onto. The one part about static images, it was thought that it would be distracting and problematic to allow, things that would scroll or those kind of things that would be, that would disturb or distract individuals. So along with that, the Plan Commission came up with several criteria, and working with Bryce, they're shown on your memo tonight, just letting it know there needs to be some limitations. A projector sign shall be applied for through the alternative sign permit process only for all non-residential districts and non-residential uses, and they'll be approved on a case-by-case basis. Residential districts and residential uses do not require a permit for alternative sign. It's thought that somebody might on their own home might want to have a sign that, again, projects against their house or garage or whatever with messages of this type, that would denote, again, potentially holiday things, for example. The projection shall not extend beyond the curb into the street or beyond any property line that would distract potentially others and disturb other property owners. Just want to be methodical here and making sure we go through these. The projection shall be limited to the display of a logo of a business as a static image. No flashing, no moving, no rotating, no animated signs will be allowed under this amendment. Non-commercial messages like holiday greetings can be displayed. That was one of the things we talked about in the meetings. Any projector signs that are deemed to present a safety hazard determined to be that way by the Marshfield Police Department, the Public Works Director, or the Zoning Administrator shall be removed immediately upon written notice. And the Plan Commission should consider placing conditions on the sign, the projection of signs, the number of signs, that type of thing, if deemed appropriate for the reasons noted. So with that in mind, a public hearing was held on August 20th, and the Plan Commission had no concerns. They're recommending it for approval. The ordinance is presented to you tonight for first reading. No action would be looked for until the September 10th council meeting, but I would take any questions about the proposed ordinance.
Any questions for Administrator Bard? Alderman Weigel?
Sorry.
No, you're not. It's okay.
I'm not. Just, I guess, one statement and one question. I'm trying to pull up the municipal code and the link is not working on the website, so, or whatever that's worth, FYI. But do we have that static requirement as far as non-projected signs? Or is that just a unique requirement for projected ones?
I think, when I think of non-static signs, the first thing I think of is scrolling or those types of things. And I believe we do have limitations on that type of.
We do, okay. Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Again, no ruling. We'll come back and read the second reading on September 10th. Thank you. Item Q, first reading of ordinance number 1521, amending sections 18-31, MR-12, 18-32, MR-24, 18-34, NMU, 18-35, CMU, 18-36, UMU, and 18-37, DMU to add clarification to how lot width, lot area, and building coverage of lots are determined for townhouses with individual lots in various zoning districts, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. This is going to seem kind of confusing, but I'll tell you it's purely housekeeping. I mean, there's no other way I can say this. It's to help the people who might be looking at the zoning code, whether they be contractors, residents, whoever, to understand and be able to pick up what they're supposed to from this particular piece of code. The city adopted a new zoning code in 2013, and with that, we created a townhouse definition, and it talked about minimum lot width, minimum lot area, building coverage requirements and stuff. But they did not address specific individual townhouse lots. The zoning code allows for townhouse dwelling units to be located on individual lots or within a group development. So you see there's a gap there. It was not clear how to calculate the required lot width, area, or building coverage for those interior lots within those types of subdivisions. So in August 2023, the code was updated to include the following language. For townhouse buildings with individual lots, the per dwelling unit, all lots combined must meet the minimum lot width, minimum lot area, and maximum building coverage of lot standards as required in the underlying zoning district. Case solved? Not necessarily, because what's happening is, because of the disconnect of where these are shown, there's been a need for clarification with people looking at the code, because it appears that they cannot find what they're looking for in the places they would expect it. In fact, in Bryce's memo, it says staff has noted that there's confusion because most people would look for those requirements under the specific zoning district involved rather than the specific land use where they are. So with that in mind, the proposed change, and I commend Bryce on putting this together, would be to add an asterisk next to the minimum lot area, maximum building coverage of a lot, and minimum lot width in the density, intensity, and bulk regulation tables on all the districts that the mayor read, that notes for townhouses with interior lots, see section 1855, sub 5, sub B. In other words, pointing them to go look at the place where they'll be able to really find the information that pertains to what they want to know, because it's not really in the place that you might expect it. So again, I call it housekeeping, call it administrative. It's presented to you for first reading tonight. No action is requested, but I'll be looking for approval of the ordinance on September 10th if there's no issues or concerns.
Any questions, comments for City Administrator Barg? Seeing none, moved to the next September 10th meeting. Item R, request to authorize staff to seek approval from Wood County to carry over unused 2024 grant funds for the Wenzel Plaza Family Restroom Project into 2025 for that project, or to repurpose for the pickleball court project, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, the city put in a number of requests for grants under the Wood County Economic Development Grant Program. We put them in 2023 for money in 2024. Some of those didn't make it to the finish line. Some of those were funded partially, got scaled back a little bit. And two of those are what I'm going to talk about here this evening. One of them was we put in for $50,000 for pickleball courts. And we also put in for $50,000 for Wenzel Family Plaza Restroom Project. For the pickleball courts, we were approved for half of the amount we asked for, $25,000. For Wenzel Family Plaza Restroom Project, we were approved for 25% of what we asked for, $12,500. As you know, the Wenzel Family Plaza Restroom Project is now under revaluation. There's a committee that's met once. They'll be meeting a second time here soon, and they'll be working to try and figure out where to best put those restrooms, be it public space or private location. But as of now, it does not look like that will happen, whatever it is, in 2024 as far as expending funds. So staff would like to be able to approach the Wood County officials looking to do one of two things, either to get a carryover of the $12,500 appropriated for the Wenzel Family Restroom Project for use in 2025 for that project, or if that's not possible, to be allowed to repurpose the $12,500 for use with the pickleball grant that they've already given us to spend in 2024 for expenses related to that project. We're not aware of if Wood County has allowed this type of carryover or repurposing before. They may say no, but we'd like to make that request to them, and we want council to be on board with and authorizing us to do so. So staff's recommendation would be council authorization to allow staff to request to Wood County officials to approve one of those two options, either to be able to carry over the $12,500 to 2025 for the Winslow Family Plaza restroom project, or to repurpose those funds in 2024 for use on the pickleball project.
We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Tompkins. Alderman Spiros?
So you're asking us to do one or the other, or they're going to ask for both in one request? Is Justin going forward and saying, wherever we find this appropriate, can we do either one? Or are you asking him to be specific?
The Winslow Family Plaza restroom project is our number one request, but if they, again, we don't know that they've ever carried monies forward.
Right,
from one year to the next.
I get what you're asking.
And so the fallback would be, could we use it on pickleball project-related expenses?
And then what would those project-related expenses be at the pickleball? What are you applying it to? Like to their long-term maintenance?
Just the construction project.
Just to the construction, okay.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
What is the motion?
Alderman Varsho made the motion, Alderman Tompkins seconded the motion, and I guess I apologize for not making it clear. Alderman Varsho, your motion would be?
My motion would be to talk to Wood County to see if we can carry over those funds and see if they say yes or no. If they say yes, I would like to carry over the funds. If they say no, then rather than give the funds back, I would like to know if we can use them for another project within this year. And if they say no to that, then obviously we have to give them the money back.
Yeah.
So
They provided to us on a reimbursement basis, so they just wouldn't give us the $12,500 without documentation of the expenses that were deemed eligible.
And Alderman Tompkins, are you in favor of his motion? As a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now please vote. That motion carries. Thank you. Item S, suggested items for further agendas.
Yeah. One of the things I was going to suggest, we don't know for sure whether we're going to need this or not, but to look for a special council meeting before the 1st of September to accommodate a potential required resolution to allow the transfer of the property to Weinbrenner based on an issue that the title company raised looking at approving the transfer for Weinbrenner. So as I would seek to have you look to try to get approval for a date for a special council meeting.
And I guess if that's necessary, since it's Tuesday night, I mean, I'd be looking to see if we can have it around supper time on Thursday. It would be one item. It would presumably be really fast, just looking at approval of a resolution clarifying the council's intent to sell the property to Weinbrenner Shoes.
So you're speaking this coming Thursday?
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Alderman Varsho? You're, okay.
Oh,
that was, okay.
I'm waiting to go to the.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so then Alderman Tompkins, then you're also waiting? Because you're up, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're not looking for a vote here. But
No.
I'm asking that be put on another agenda. If it works and if we can accommodate it, then that's fine. If we can't, then we can't. It's not going to be the absolute end of the world. We don't even know if we need it, but I'm just suggesting that we look to put that on a council agenda for Thursday night.
Rather than by email though, as long as we're sitting here and we're talking about something not time sensitive, if I said 5:30 on Thursday, very short, would that be workable?
Yes.
Yes.
Would anybody say no?
No.
You say no?
Yes.
You say no, yes? Mike says no, yes.
Anybody?
Do we have to physically be here? Could we just do a Zoom with all 10 council members for such a short
Yeah,
meeting?
you can do Zoom.
Because
Whoever wants to do Zoom, but I'll be here physically for anybody who's going to be here physically. But everybody else besides Mike is on board?
Next door. I'll do one.
Besides Mike Fire, that is?
I mean, not be
5:30 is
able to
fine.
make it, I'm not sure yet.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll send it out for 5:30 on Thursday.
Fire it up quick.
Alderman Tompkins, you are still up?
Thank you. Just as a reminder that it would be lovely to hear a presentation from Vanderwall about the progress they've made in the last 6 months or anything that's been done in the last 6 months about Second Street.
Yes.
Any other items for further? Alderman Varsho?
I was very impressed with the fair this weekend, so I would like Mr. Dale, why can't I remember his last name? Christensen. Mr. Christensen to come in within the next month and give us the attendance, give us how everything went. The market sale was great. I would just like to know how everything went this year.
Sounds good.
Any other items for further agendas? Seeing none, item T, adjourn to a closed session under Wisconsin Statute Chapter 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Consider joining class action lawsuit re PFAS and closed session under Wisconsin Statute Chapter 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Renewal of ambulance services contracts for 2025 with surrounding municipalities. We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Tompkins. And please vote to go into closed session. We are in closed session.